I call this meeting of the North Adams City Council to order for July 23rd, 2024. This meeting is being recorded and can be viewed live on Northern Berkshire Community Television and is streamed live on youtube.com/North Adams. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Blackmer. Here. Bona.
Here.
Breen.
Here.
Fitch.
Here.
Morrow. Here. Oleskowitz. Shade.
Here.
Wilkinson. I know he's here. Sapienza.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum tonight, 9 members present. All right, approval of the minutes, the July 9th, 2024 City Council minutes are not 100% ready yet, so we will present those at the next meeting. And now we move into hearing visitors on the agenda. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes regarding items listed on the agenda. As a reminder, I will tap the gavel when you have reached the 2-minute limit to signal that your time has ended.
Brian?
And
Point of order.
I'm sorry.
We forgot the pledge.
Oh, geez, what?
Moment of silence.
Okay, all right, yes, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead there. Okay. Moment of silent remembrance, please. And tonight we'll remember Dorothy Ransford. She was an elementary school teacher with the North Adams Public Schools. And the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. So, to repeat myself, the July 9th City Council meeting minutes will be presented at the next meeting. And we'll do hearing the visitors on agenda, 2 minutes. Please step up to the mic, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Fred, 100 Woodlawn Ave here in North Adams. Good evening, Mayor Maxey, President Sapienza, and City Councilors. I've been serving as chairperson of the Commission on Disabilities for 3 years. This evening, you will be reviewing a communication by Councilor Shade, number 12,409, both 1 and 2, with orders to adopt the acceptance of Massachusetts Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Sections 8J and 22G. The Commission on Disabilities has been urging the acceptance of 22G. As explained to me by a member of the Massachusetts Commission on Disability in Boston, 22G is essential for the sustainability of a municipal commission. However, a municipality must have adopted acceptance of 8J first. Adopting 8J will not change anything the way that the commission is run. You will note more than 6 requirements is laid out by the state, and it is exactly how I conduct the commission. I encompass mass open meeting law, ethics, working with and on behalf of persons with disabilities, and more, including meeting with local officials and agencies. Adopting it will, however, allow the commission the opportunity to apply for major grants that will assist persons with disabilities that the City of North Adams has never applied for. In addition to 8J, the adoption of 22G, previously noted, is essential for the commission. It's used by many municipalities and must ultimately be enforced by police. Overall, the commission requests your support and thanks Councilor Shade for putting it on the agenda this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for hearing of visitors? Okay, moving on. Council paper number 10,674-8, an ordinance for amending the revised zoning map of North Adams by expanding and extending westerly to Rickard Street, the present B2 zoning district on State Road, so as to rezone all of Assessor's Map 95, Lot 40 as B2, passed to a second reading at the meeting of June 25th, 2024 and postponed from the meeting of July 9th, 2024. This has been published, and there was an information packet, but we need a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And any discussion? Counselor Shade.
Yes, we received a communication through the mayor in regards to an opinion from an attorney on contract zoning specifically for this property. I think it would be in our best interest to proceed in that direction, have a contract in place before we vote to approve of the changes. Thank you.
Counselor Blackmer.
I think the changes are separate from the contract. I think contract zoning was going to be in place of changing the zoning.
No, it would still need to be zoned as the zoning would still need to be changed.
I think we should continue to do the zoning change and not, I mean, if they want to enter into a contract, that's, I think, separate.
That is,
There's no motion on the floor. I mean, there's.
There's a motion.
there's a motion.
There's a motion. Motion to
I
adopt.
apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize.
There is a motion, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, Counselor Shade.
Yeah, so my understanding, reading it, is that if we had it contracted in place before we voted, it would limit the use of the land to specifics in the contract. If we change it now without the contract, then it would be much more difficult to enforce a contract afterwards. It would be more voluntary than a requirement. I think making it a requirement for the zoning protects both the property and the neighborhood, and the neighbors should resolve their potential issues of future use for that property. So I truly believe it would be best to enter the contract or have a contract in agreement contingent upon the adoption of this, but to have a contract in place first. Otherwise, we don't have any enforcement measures in place.
Counselor Fitch.
I agree with Councilor Shade that this may be a good option, that there are several good options here, only a couple good options here. But this is the one that's in front of us right now, and I do believe in moving this forward, hopefully quickly, because it's already been a fairly long process. I'm also totally fine indicating to, North Adams that we are okay with zoning changes that make sense and that are already in alignment with where things are, meaning that this is right along Route 2, and we've talked about this before. It makes sense to me to improve the safety of the staff and to turn this into an office, and I'd love to move this forward now rather than waiting.
Okay. Counselor Blackmer.
Has this been shared with,
It was shared with the council president, what he did with it.
so it wasn't shared with tourists?
It was shared with the council president, who requested the opinion.
So we haven't shared this, they don't know anything about it, and they're not, and I've already been contacted and told they wouldn't be here tonight.
Okay, no, I had not had a chance to share it with them yet, so. Counselor Wilkinson.
Sorry for not being up to speed on this, but if you're introducing something tonight that nobody doesn't know about, and you want to take a vote on it, isn't that a little premature?
Well, we've already discussed the,
Oh, I know about the
Yeah.
zoning change, but all of a
Yeah.
sudden now, we have an opinion from the city solicitor for contract, whatever it was.
Contract.
I've been doing the zoning for a long time. and
Right.
I'm unfamiliar with that, so I don't feel comfortable on voting on, if you're putting that in the scenario.
okay, but from what I understand from this letter is that in order for tourists to do anything with this piece of property, it has to be zoned as a B2 resident, B2 zone.
I have no problem with that.
Right. The contract, the way I understood this letter, the contract can come in later, and that would be between the parties involved. And a contract would be signed between the parties involved and with a third-party witness.
I understand that.
Yes.
I have no problems, I say, passing along the zoning change tonight to B2. That's not an issue. I don't really understand the contract part of it, but if we're doing that at a later date, that has nothing to do with what we're doing tonight. It was nice to introduce it, but I'd like to know a lot more about it before we voted on that aspect of it.
Okay. But again, I don't believe we would be voting on that aspect of it. That would be between the parties involved. Counselor
Point
Blackmer?
of order.
I'm sorry.
I haven't spoken yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Counselor.
If we remember, Mr. Kearns did come in, and he seemed to be sort of very willingly trying to tell us, if you can come up with some options that work, then I didn't get the sense like he was rushing us. It sounded like they were very, very willing to work with the neighbors and asking us, is there something we can come up with? Now, we do have an option, and I guess my feeling is, should that be going back to them at this time to hear their opinion, if they're willing to do that? I do agree with Counselor Shade in the sense that if we pass what's in front of us tonight, there really is no need. They could say, well, we don't want a contract at this point, and we're done. We're okay just to do what we want. But Mr. Kearns did say in this chambers, come up with something.
Right.
And I feel like that's something, but they should know about it and get their thoughts on it. That's where I'm at, so.
Okay, Counselor Blackmer?
Well, I do want to reiterate it, that the letter also does say that it's not spot zoning, even if we change it without contract zoning. Since contract zoning is new to us, original opinion was, weren't sure we could do it. My concern is that we've paid a bunch of money to publish this, for starters, so are we going to have to republish it, and what are the things around that? What happens with this contract? Who negotiates it? The reference is here, it's between the owners of the property, the abutting property, and perhaps the city through the mayor. So I'm not sure if the mayor has anything to say about it or not.
I don't, in the sense that this is a legislative decision. If you decide that you want to go down that road, I'm happy to jump in, but I've kind of referred all of this information to the council president. I agree with what Councilor Bona said, in the sense that Mr. Kearns did say, but this has been kicking around for a while, and I think you've all received letters from the abutters about their concerns. Mr. Kearns seems willing to work with people. It's really your prerogative.
And I want to follow up with that, is because now I have a question. I guess if I had seen the letter, I might have followed up with more questions. It says the agreement would include the owners of tourists, the owners of abutting properties. Is it a lien that gets put on the property in perpetuity? If they sell the house, does that contract go with it, or does it become null and void? These are all questions that I would have about a contract. And I don't want to hold up if they're trying to get stuff done during the construction season. Now, holding it up for 3 weeks and putting it on the agenda on the 13th, where everybody has time to have a chance to look at it, and maybe we can follow up with these questions, fine. But I don't want to sit here and find out it's 3 months later and they're still negotiating a contract when we voted to change the zoning and we published it.
Counselor Shade?
Yes, my understanding is, since we've already published, we wouldn't be changing the order itself, so we should be able to come back and vote on that later. I think it would be in our best interest to have these conversations with tourists who did say they were willing to find another solution, and I think this protects the future integrity of that area. Again, the biggest concern was that, what if tourist sells the property to another company and they can then do whatever they want on that property, even if there's some kind of verbal agreement with the neighbors that it's just going to be used for an office. By taking this route and having some kind of contract in place, it would restrict the expansion of that piece of land from disturbing the rest of the neighborhood, and I think that's really important to this process. Thank you.
Excuse me 1 second. I just
Yes,
sent a
go ahead,
message to the city solicitor to see if he could chime in, so I'm just.
Okay, Counselor Blackmer?
Because that's also my question, is what happens to this contract if tourist sells or they sell? Does that mean that it's null and void because the parties aren't involved? I guess those are some of the questions I have, because a contract is between two people. It's not like they're placing a lien on the deed that says you can only do this with it. That's a whole other thing that we haven't even talked about. So,
Counselor Ballmer.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been ready to support this all along, but it was the comments from Mr. Kearns at the last meeting that really sort of threw it off for me, is sort of like tossing it back at us, of saying, if you can come up with a solution, something that's more of a compromise, we're very willing to hear that and deal with it. I didn't get the sense like, please try to get this done by the next meeting. I got, if you can come up with a compromise, we're very willing to work with that. It sounds like we have some questions definitely about what's in front of us now. And, again, I'm willing to support the initial, but I don't know if that's really what tourists 100% wants. I don't know if that's what the neighbors 100% want. And we definitely, I don't think, have a full understanding of this contractual agreement of how that works. And I think, the solicitor might be more helpful with that, but it still goes back to wanting to know what tourists wants, and I feel they were looking for a compromise.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn it over to the mayor.
I'm at a council meeting, and they have a couple questions about your opinion about tourists and the contract zoning, the contract agreement. Okay, I'm just gonna put you on speaker. And I'm gonna take you to whoever has the question. This is Joel Bard, our city solicitor. He was kind enough to take the call. So Lisa, did you have a question?
hi, Attorney Bard, it's Lisa Blackmer. My questions with the spots, with the contract zoning were, how binding, the contract is between tourists, the owners of the abutting property, and perhaps the city, is what you said. What happens if the property is sold either by tourists or the abutting property? Does that become null and void? Does it pass on? Is it, because it's not like it's a deed restriction or anything that is there, and I guess what are the implications of that? And the other quick question, we figured we've already published it. If we hold off to vote for another few weeks to the next meeting, we're still good because it's published as it was, as we're required to do.
Well, let me start with the second question, if I understand it, when you say it's published. So the zoning itself wouldn't change, if that's the point of your question. In other words, just to rezone it to B2, that wouldn't change. The contract would be a separate document. Where are you going with that? So again, if I understand the second part of your question.
We'll have to do it near the TV mic.
The zoning would be the same. Did that answer that question?
Wait, so we wouldn't change the zoning, or we would leave the change with the contract to protect the abutters?
Correct. In other words, they've requested that the parcel be rezoned B2.
Yep.
The council would vote to rezone it to B2, and there would be, let's call it a side agreement that would be the contract. That'd be the contract part of the zoning.
Okay.
So that would be, that wouldn't become part of this, the city's zoning ordinance.
Okay, but the follow-up question is that in perpetuity, or is it when either property is sold, does it end the contract?
Right, yeah, I was going to get to that because that was your first question. So it would be meant to be, well, it would be up, so it is a contract, it would be negotiated between the parties. So it could be in perpetuity. So, and it would be recorded. So it would show up on the registry. So should, let's say, tourists sell it 5 or 7 or 15 years from now, somebody does a title search, they'll see that there's a limitation on the zoning that they can't do, they can't reuse the lot for all of the purposes for which that B2 zoning allows. Do you see what I mean?
Thank you. That's an important clarification.
But of course, the agreement would have to be in place before the council votes the rezoning. Once it's been voted, tourists might sign the agreement, but they may not, because at that point they wouldn't need to, if you see what I mean.
Yes. I rescind my motion.
Okay. Do we have,
Anyone else? Why we have Attorney Bar?
I would make a motion to postpone to the next meeting.
okay.
Second.
Are we set with Attorney Bar?
I think we are. You might get more questions via email.
Thank you, Joel, very
Yes.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to postpone to the meeting
Okay, thank
of
you,
August
Joel.
13th. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Could I ask,
Council Blackmer.
could I ask that you send this to tourists, please? And to the abutters?
Microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could I ask that you
It'll-
send this to
it'll-
tourists and the abutters?
Yeah, it'll be sent out, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be sent out.
I was all set to go yes.
Okay. Any further questions, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One abstention.
One abstention?
One opposed.
One opposed. Okay. Vote is all in favor. Counselor Breen abstained and Counselor Fitch opposed. All right.
This is, we're voting on a continuation to the 13th of July.
We just
Yeah, 13th of August. Yep.
I misunderstood the original, I am opposed.
You are opposed? Okay. Counselor Leskowitz as well, okay. Okay, council paper number 11,826-3, an ordinance to amend the ordinances of the city of North Adams regarding the fees and fines established in the city code, passed to a second reading and published as a municipal bulletin,
Move to adopt.
postponed from the meeting of July 9th, 2024. We have a motion to adopt. Do we have a second?
Second.
Counselor Leskowitz, Counselor Blackmer, and any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Okay, just go down through the, yep. Does she have a-
Okay. Blackmer,
Here? I'm sorry, yes?
We know you're here.
Bona,
Yes.
Breen,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Morrow. Yes. Alaskowitz.
Yes.
Sapienza,
Yes.
Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, motion passes. Congratulations on a job well done on that. I think the Finance Committee and all those involved in that, that was a long process. One note, I need the next part too. One vote and call me last. Thank you. Thank you. Council paper number 11,826-4, an ordinance to amend the ordinances of the city of North Adams by adding Appendix D entitled Fee and Fine Schedule, passed to a second reading and published as a municipal bulletin, postponed from the meeting of July 9th, 2024.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Okay, we have motion to adopt and second. And you would second it, Councilor Bona, or did Councilor?
I didn't.
Councilor Morrow.
One of us did, yeah.
Councilor Morrow, okay, thank you. Any further discussion on that?
So just as a reminder, so
Go ahead.
once this is approved, I believe the city clerk then can send out the Schedule D to the departments and letting them know that those fees and fines are active after this vote, so.
Okay, Councilor Shade?
And with that, anyone who receives a fine or fee now has one place that they have to look for it instead of trying to find it through all the ordinances. So it makes it a lot more efficient when the public is looking at our fines and fees.
Again, job well done, and that was a long time in coming. Okay, any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bona,
Yes.
Breen,
Yes.
Fitch.
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Alaskowitz.
Yes.
Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Sapienza.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Okay. Motion approved. Council paper number 12,191-1, an ordinance to amend the ordinances of the City of North Adams, Chapter 15, entitled Litter, Sections 2, 3, 8.1, 8.2, 16, and 25, postponed from the meeting of July 9th, 2024. Councilor Blackmer, do you have an update?
I have a motion to continue to the meeting of August 13th.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we have a
And
motion.
my update is that we went through every single suggestion by the solicitor. We voted to adopt most of them. We changed some times. We added in a few words, like raccoon. And, but I have to get the document in a Word doc so that I can then make all those changes so that you actually have it on an ordinance paper by the next meeting. Also, I need clarification, now that we have the new fines and the new section for the fines, how do we work that in? Do I have to do, to amend what we just adopted?
Absolutely.
And so I have to do that as a separate line as part of all that. So that was kind of the new thing because it was literally in the middle of it. So we also have to add that language in too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to and there'll be like another council paper on the thing we just passed. So we should I can get that done by the next meeting.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Motion to postpone to the meeting of August 13th. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Council paper number 12,191-2, an ordinance to amend the ordinances of the City of North Adams by adding a new Chapter 15A entitled Feeding Wildlife, postponed from the meeting of July 9th, 2024. Councilor Blackmer.
Move to postpone to the meeting of August 13th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Councilor Blackmer, Councilor Morrow. Any further, do you want to update us on that as well?
Same conversation, actually, that's where the raccoons go.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, council paper number 12,405, communication number 50 from Mayor Maxey recommending the appointment of Meredith Starr to serve as a member of the Housing Authority Board for a term to expire on July 22nd,
So move.
2029. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mayor, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that Ms. Starr is here today. Meredith, if you want to just give everybody a wave so you can put a name with a face. I'm sure you've seen her through her work through the coalition, but I'm very excited that she was willing to take on this position. Thank you.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, Meredith.
Council paper number 12,406, communication number 51 from Mayor Maxey, recommending the reappointment of Richard Levine to serve as a member of the Housing Authority Board for a term to expire July 22, 2029.
Move to approve.
Second.
Councilor Blackmer, Councilor Shade. Mayor, did you want to say anything about
Mr.
this?
Levine has been serving in this capacity as the tenant representative. As most of you know, in our ordinance, we're required to have a tenant representative on the board, and he fills that position.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Council paper number 12,407, communication number 52 from Mayor Maxey regarding grant assurances through the Airport Safety and Maintenance Program and the end of fiscal year '24 grant. I'm going to file the communication without objection. Mayor, would you like to speak on this, please?
Yeah, so this is kind of a housekeeping paperwork type of thing. As required by the grant, we have to list grant assurances. I think we've had a couple before you previously. This one is specifically for the John Deere tractor, which you approved the city share. I believe it was at the last meeting. So this is just part of the grant awarding process. So I would encourage you to approve it. It has already been endorsed by the Airport Commission.
Okay,
We got to go into the order
we have
first.
to go on to the order on this one. Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I thought we're already on the order. We filed the communication, we're on the order.
No, he didn't order, he will read it when it's on the agenda. She read the communication.
Council paper number 12,407, in order to adopt the ASMP Airport Safety and Maintenance Program Grant Assurance in the amount of $14,320 for end of fiscal year '24 for the purchase of blade attachments for the John Deere tractor and cat loader at Harriman and West Airport.
Now you can say it.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Sure, why not?
Councilor Wilkinson.
It's $14,320 for a lawnmower blade.
2, a snow blade for a John Deere tractor and a dozer blade for a cat loader to maintain the airport, which is specialized equipment. They're larger than most, not what you would put on your John Deere tractor at home.
Because I have one at home, and wouldn't pay that. Did this go out to bid?
Doesn't have to.
It's under $50,000 and it was approved by the FAA and Mass Aeronautics. I'm sure they solicited 3 quotes in the process.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure, Counselor Wilkinson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Shade.
Just to clarify, this is a grant we are receiving. We're not actually paying anything out of the city budget, correct?
No, you appropriated money last
Correct.
meeting of $3,580.
Okay.
So it was a grant award from Mass Aeronautics and the FAA.
But this isn't an additional expenditure. This is,
Correct.
okay,
It's just cleaning up some paperwork.
exactly. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion to adopt. Any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bona,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Morrow. Yes. Alaskowitz. Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
No.
Sapienza.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Council paper number 12,408, communication number 53 from Mayor Maxey regarding grant assurances through the Federal Aviation Administration and the Aeronautics Division of the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the Northeast Hangar. Mayor, I'm going to file a communication without objection. Mayor, would you like to speak on this, please?
Similar story, so before Counselor Wilkinson asked, yes, this project was put out to bid. This was for the portion of the northeast hangar renovation. Tierney Construction was our GC on the job. Total project was $750,000. At the last meeting, you appropriated the city share of $56,171. This is, again, a paperwork processing thing through the FAA and Mass Aeronautics that we have to sign off on grant assurances moving forward. This was endorsed by the Airport Commission, and I would just encourage you to go along with the paperwork, the process.
Okay. Any discussion? Moving on to the order. Council paper number 12,408, in order to adopt grant assurances from the Federal Aviation Administration and the Aeronautics Division of the Massachusetts Department of Transportation in the amount of $80,207.67 for the construction of the northeast hangar at Harriman and West Airport. Do we have a
Move to
motion?
adopt.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, this will be, I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilor Wilkinson.
Well, the mayor made a comment. She wishes us to just go along with it. I don't go along with anything.
Figure of speech, Counselor Wilkinson.
Pardon me?
A figure of speech.
Well, I certainly understand his figure of speech, and I have no issue with it. I just took offense that we should just go along with it.
Figure of speech, sir. I'm sorry if I offended you with that term.
No problem whatsoever.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bona,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch.
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Alaskowitz. Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Sapienza.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Council paper number 12,409, a communication from Counselor Ashley Shade regarding the acceptance and incorporation of Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Sections 8J and 22G into the revised ordinances of the City of North Adams under Article 29 of the North Adams Commission on Disabilities. File the communication. Counselor Shade, would you like to speak on this, please?
Yes. So as was said during public hearing, these provisions are part of Mass General Law that we have not adopted as a city. The Section 8J would allow the Disabilities Commission and the city to be eligible for grants and funding through the state to improve disability access and for projects that would affect people with disabilities in our community. And the adoption of 22G would reserve funding from handicap parking fines to be directed to specifically be spent on improving specifically spent under the jurisdiction of the commission for people with disabilities. So it would take fines from handicap parking, which there are very few of. I think in the last section that we had, or last report that we had on it, there were like 3 or 4 fines of it. So it's not a lot of money, but it's something that the commission would be able to use to improve the lives of people with disabilities in our community. This is Disability Pride Month, so it's very fitting that we take these measures this month and work to continue improving access. And through the mayor, this is something that we've been working on for a little while and has the administration's support.
Yes, we're very excited to support this. We were quite surprised when we started digging in about what was accepted and what hasn't been formally accepted. And I really just want to applaud the work of the Disabilities Commission. Many of the members who are here tonight, they're an active group and they are really working on the betterment of individuals with disabilities in our community. So I partnered with Counselor Shade, as she is loves to write new ordinances and make sure things are checked and balanced. So this is something that we fully support. It's an easy lift for us. It's just changing a GL code and just some numbers. In fiscal year 21, it was $1,500. Fiscal year 22, $900. In fiscal year 23, $1,100. So it's not going to have a huge impact on our local receipts, but honestly, it's the right thing to do. So these are fees that are incurred for people who have parked in handicap parking spaces, and this money will be used back and given back to be used by the Disability Commission for not only programming but improvements throughout the community. So I think this is really good work on behalf of Counselor Shade as well as the Disabilities Commission. So we fully endorse this.
Thank you. Counselor Bona?
Through the chair to the mayor, how is the money handled? Because let's just say if they don't spend anything one year and it carries over, is it like a mini reserve, a mini enterprise fund specifically for
Don't ever
them?
use the word enterprise fund. You make my hair stand up.
I know.
Yeah, so it'll be just like a reserve account similar to a parking meter reserve. So we'll be put in a special account, and that will be used specifically for the Disabilities Commission. We've got to dig into it a little bit more to probably you put it in the reserve, and then when they're ready to expend, take those expenses out of the reserve and put it into the budget so we can track those kind of expenses.
Thank you.
Counselor Blackmer?
when you say account, we mean GL account, not bank account, correct?
Correct.
I'm only clarifying because I know a lot of people get
Yeah.
confused and think it's a separate bank account.
No, it would be a corrected, a separate fund code as we talk in accounting.
Is it a
So
revolving or a reserve?
it will be a reserve account, but it will, the money will move every year, similar to what we do for parking meter reserve or landfill reserve, even though we don't have a landfill, those historic accounts.
Counselor Shade.
Yes, and if you look at the language of 22G, it does give some specificity on that, and does say that it needs to be deposited into a separate account solely for use by peoples with disabilities, and it does say that the account is established by the city town treasurer, kept separate from all other monies. So it does go into a little bit more explanation in the actual order of 22G.
So that's different.
It's tracked by fund code. So it could be, it'll be tracked by fund code. So it's not like we're gonna set up, it's not gonna be like the Tinker Fund Trust where it earns interest. It'll be a fund code within our funds.
So, through the chair, legally, it holds, us being so counted as its own, what was it, separate account?
Separate account.
Yes.
It's
That would still
will
be
in a
counted
different
as a
fund
separate
code.
account?
Yep,
Okay.
only to be used for that purpose.
That's why I asked for clarification,
I-
because people do get confused, and there are times you actually have to have a separate bank account.
Right.
This isn't one of them.
Any further discussion? Moving on to the order, council paper number 12,409-1, in order to adopt the acceptance of Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 8J.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bono,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Morrow. Yes. Olaskowitz. Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Sapienza.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, council paper number 12,409-2, in order to adopt the acceptance of Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 22G.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, Council Blackmer, Councilor Shade, any further discussion?
What are we voting on?
The second piece.
Second piece that's in the letter.
The order, the second part of the order. Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 22G.
Great, what's that?
It's in your papers.
Councilor Shade, would you like to explain that, please?
Yes, so the part that we voted on, 8J, essentially puts us in alignment for the commission to be in code with MGL. Section 22G is specifically for the handicap parking fees to be placed in a separate account for use by the commission for persons with disabilities.
Wonderful. Why doesn't it say that?
Because it's in your paperwork.
It
It's-
is. The next
Well,
page.
it's in my paperwork. I'll bring it up under council concerns. Forget it here.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bono,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch.
Yes.
Morrow. Yes. Olaskowitz.
Yes.
Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Sapienza.
Yes. Okay, council paper number 12,409-2, and to add the Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 22G, reference under Article 29, North Adams Commission on Disabilities, a new paragraph under Section 2-154.
Move to pass to a second reading and publish as required by law.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving on, motion passes. And we have no licenses tonight. Open forum, this is an opportunity for the public to speak to council for 2 minutes on issues of municipal significance. As a reminder, we ask that you remain within the 2 minutes and refrain from any personal attacks. Anybody for open forum tonight? Okay, seeing none. Mayor, would you like to update us on,
Sure, I've done enough talking for the week, so I will make this quick, and these are fun updates. Just a reminder, on Saturday, July 27th, will be the Eagle Street Beach Party. Our rain date is August 3rd. It will run from 3:30 to 6:30. So we're hoping that everyone will come out and join us at the beach party. Also on Wednesday, August 14th, will be our downtown celebration. The rain date is August 15th. It will run from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
okay, thank you. Okay, committee reports and minutes. Okay, hearing none. Liaison updates, counselor concerns. Counselor Wilkinson.
This may seem silly, but I don't think so. We're constantly being asked to be more clear and transparent in council activities. When I read, there's something on the agenda that is for our consideration, and it's 12,409-1, in order to adopt the acceptance of MGL Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 40, Section BJ, with no explanation. Now, somebody told me just a minute ago that it's in my council packet. However, if I'm a member of the general public and I want to know, what the heck are they voting on? There's no reference to it whatsoever. They may go on the city's site and do an extensive evaluation of everything that's in the packet. Why can't we just have a couple of blurbs when the council minutes are published for the public that says, what is it that we're talking about? I've mentioned this before, and it's never really gone anywhere, but if we're going to be clear and transparent, and we want the public to be part of what we do, I think a little clearer definition of what is being asked to be voted on here would be appropriate. I may come back and actually come forward with something that will get referred to committee, just to make a point. But then we can go to the next one, 12,409-2, in order to adopt acceptance of MGL Part 1, Chapter 7, Chapter 40, Title 7, excuse me, Chapter 40, Section 22G. Again, to the average Joe that's watching on TV, pardon if that's an insult to anybody that's named Joe, that means absolutely nothing. We know what it's, I don't, but other members here know what that's all about. But it's meaningless. So we have to explain it. Just my thoughts, just my concern. I may be back with that. Thank you.
Counselor Blackmer.
Not to deliberate, but just for clarification for the public. The council paper with, from Counselor Shade, referred to the North Adams Commission on Disability. So all of these papers were regarding that. Secondly, the one that Counselor Wilkinson brought up is page 94 of the papers that are listed. It's 96 pages of our agenda. In this case, because we had the reporting for the fees. That took up a lot of space, obviously. But all you have to do is skim down quickly. But to start with, you knew it had something to do with disabilities because it's attached to those, and it's the same number. And to the fact that you said, we knew because we read it, but you didn't, I kind of find that a little, you're complaining to us, but if somebody asks you, you should have read it and then been able to answer the question.
How do you know I didn't read it?
You said you didn't.
All right,
No, I said I
Forget
didn't
it.
know.
That's fine.
let's not back and forth on this one, please.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said not to deliberate.
Any further concerns, council concerns? Counselor Fitch?
Yeah, certainly, through the chair to the mayor, if I could. I have a couple questions about city affairs. First of all, a comment, congratulations again on the new administrative officer. The question is, though, has she started yet?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Yeah, cool, awesome.
July 8th.
Am I correct, too, that Kathy Ead is also staying on?
Yes.
As a, Great, awesome. The question's about Sullivan School. I think a couple proposals were submitted.
Yes,
Where are we in
we
accepting
issued an
what
RFP, those are still under review.
Okay. Do we know when they'll be out of review?
When we finish review. Soon, I hope.
Okay. Another update, you had mentioned that we're working with the technical assistance program through
Yep.
HUD. Has that
Distressed
begun?
communities, yep. That has begun. We've been underway for about 6 months. We met last week, we met today. Work in progress.
Nice, thank you.
Okay, I have one question. Oh, go ahead, Counselor Shade.
I'm sorry, Counselor Fitch, were you set?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Counselor.
It was brought to our attention, or some of our attention, before the meeting from the city clerk, that there is a notice of public hearing from the National Grid. I'd like to read that into the record during correspondence.
Okay,
It's a correspondence from them.
okay. Counselor Fitch?
We're in announcements section as well?
We're still in Counselor concerns.
Excuse me.
That's announcements.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, Counselor Fitch, did you have something to add?
Sure, just a couple upcoming events. The Woodlands Partnership asked me to make a public announcement about the Notch Reservoir Woods Walk, which is coming up on July 31st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. up at Notch Reservoir. They're doing a demonstration for us there, and this is a partnership between the Woodlands Partnership, City of North Adams, New England Forestry Foundation, and Mass Audubon. And they're expecting to give the public a demonstration of how they create more climate resilience within forests and create healthier forests. And so I'm excited to be there, and hopefully some people will join too. And then the second announcement is next Friday, August 2nd, is First Friday Downtown North Adams. So if you just head downtown, you'll find all sorts of parties and events going on in the shops and galleries, and musical performances outside, and so on and so forth. This theme, because it is August, is the Dog Days of Summer. That's from 5 p.m. till about 9 p.m.
Okay. Counselor Bona, did you have something to add?
Through the chair to the mayor, how did the city sustain with the last storm? Was there any severe costs or damages to city properties?
Yeah, we have lost several trees on several city properties. We had some electrical issues. Our biggest thing really is trees. We were fortunate we didn't have any heavy flooding that created the damage like it did last year. It inconvenienced many of our neighborhoods that were out without electricity. But overall, we're back and running. We've cleaned up almost everything. If you see some things on the side of the road that we didn't get, please let us know. But most of it has been tree removal.
Thank you.
Okay, one other thing before you sit down, Mayor. Traffic and construction around the city, any concerns or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of paving going on. I sent out an alert that unfortunately went out twice today. My apologies to anyone that we annoyed, but it was the weirdest thing. We are starting to pave Brooklyn Street, Houghton Street, Eagle Street, portions of Eagle Street from River to the hospital. In addition, we're still doing our CBDG project on Prospect. So we've got a lot of things dug up. As we know, Berkshire Gas is still moving around, but we're trying to stay ahead of those with the reverse 911 calls. So we just ask for your patience over the next couple of days in the high areas, the Houghton Street, Brooklyn Street, Eagle Street area, Prospect, Chase. What's the other one? And those little side streets, those are going to be a little bit longer before they're paved because that's a full project. But I'm sure you'll all be happy that we won't be hitting potholes when we go down Eagle Street or Houghton Street. But again, with the new pavement comes a lot of people who tend to go faster. So I just warn people to please obey the speed limit in those areas and be very cautious because there's people who cross there. But that's kind of where we are with construction. We've got pretty close to $1.4 million of projects going on.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Bona.
Yeah, I've seen a couple locations now, and I don't know if they're moving these new little speed limits, digital signs that are on telephone poles.
Yep.
Is that the cities? Is it
Yeah,
a
those are
grant?
the,
What was
yeah,
it?
those are the cities. That was through the Safe Streets, part of the Safe Streets program, and through the police department. We're moving them to collect data. And we are finding in some areas it is slowing some traffic down when we go out with the gun and do speed. But they are city-owned boards, and we do move them around.
How many are there?
I think there's 8 poll boards, and then we have 2 speed boards.
And you said, are they actually collecting data? So they're basically tracking, so if 100 cars go by, you know how fast 100 cars went? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay.
Very good.
I'm not capturing my plate.
Not your
Okay.
plates, though, right?
Not yet.
Okay, any further updates or council concerns? Moving on, Councilor Shade, you had something for correspondence?
Yes, the Department of Public Utilities has posted a notice of public hearing and request for comments. I think this is important to inform everyone about. It's a petition from Massachusetts Electric Company and Nantucket Electric Company doing business as National Grid for approval of midterm modifications to its 22-24 3-year energy efficiency plan. On June 24th, 2024, the Massachusetts Electric Company and Nantucket Electric Company, each doing business as National Grid, filed a petition with the Department of Public Utilities seeking approval of a midterm modification to its 2022-2024 3-year energy efficiency plan, which was filed in DPU 21-123 and approved by the department in 2022-2024 3-year energy efficiency plans. The department docketed this matter. The company proposes to modify its 3-year plan to increase its department-approved energy efficiency budget in the residential and income-eligible sectors. Specifically, the company seeks to increase the budget for its residential hard-to-measure program by approximately $8.4 million, or 17%. The company maintains that the proposed increase is driven by greater than larger than anticipated loan amounts, the higher than anticipated interest rates in the Mass Save Heat Loan Core Initiative. The company states that it will use the increased budget to continue to provide heat loans to interested customers, and to increase the budget for its income-eligible existing buildings program by approximately $81.1 million, or 55%. The company states that the proposed increase is driven by an income-eligible coordinated deliverance core initiative, which provides energy efficiency services and products to income-eligible residential customers. The company maintains that it has experienced unprecedented demand for income-eligible projects at a higher cost per project than planned. The company states that it will use the increased budget to continue to offer incentives to income-eligible customers in these programs, and to increase the budget for its income-eligible hard-to-measure program by $300,000, or 6%. The company states that the main drivers of this increase are: 1, increased marketing costs as a company sought to drive participation in its income-eligible programs, and 2, a higher-than-planned assessment from the Department of Energy Resources, or DEWR, to the company related to DEWR's oversight and coordination. On June 24th, 2024, the department approved a prior midterm modification that increased the company's budget for residential sector and decreased the company's budget for commercial and industrial sector. If the department approves the budget increases as proposed for this latest midterm modification, the company states that customers will experience the following additional bill impacts. A residential customer R1 using 500 kilowatt hours of electricity per month will experience a monthly bill increase of $3.14, or 1.7%. A low-income residential assistance customer R2 using 500 kilowatts of electricity per month will experience a bill increase of $1.84, or 1.6%. And C&I customers will experience bill increases ranging from 0.5% to 1.6%. These customers should contact the company for specific bill impact information. The department will conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the company's petition on Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, beginning at 2 p.m. Important date, Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, beginning at 2 p.m. The hearing will be virtual and use Zoom video conferencing. And those meetings links are posted online. Any person interested in commenting on this matter may submit written comments no later than the close of business 5 p.m. on Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Please note that in the interest of transparency, any comments will be posted to our website as received and without redacting personal information such as addresses, telephone numbers, or email addresses. There's a little bit more information here on who to contact at National Grid. This communication is in the city clerk's office and can be made available to anyone on request, or can be found on the Department of Public Utilities website. But it's important to note that the electric company is trying to revise its plan to increase electrical rates, which I don't know about anybody else's, but mine has gone up significantly for the same use over the past year. So this is another potential electrical increase, and this is your opportunity to speak about it in a public hearing. And I think everybody should just know. So thank you.
Okay, any further correspondence? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Move to
So
adjourn?
moved.
Counselor
Second.
Fitch, Counselor Blackmer, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Said 8. Said an hour.
Good luck.
Got it.